Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Locker Room Podcast. I'm Daryl Natil with another great show for you tonight. For those of you first time watching the podcast, please subscribe to the Locker Room Podcast. Tonight, I got some guys on, man, with a conversation that I really want to hear about. And tonight's podcast is called Sneakerheads. I got two of my favorite guys on. I got some more folks out there. One's in Mexico and one's in Texas. You know, they're on that Central Standard Time, so they're a little lost right now. But let me introduce my guest. First of all, in the right top hand corner from Daytona Beach, Florida, is Sold Out Florida Shoe Company. I guess that's his name on social media. I got Mr. Jake. How you doing, Jake?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing down at the bottom. Got my family in here. Kicks on the fly. I got Mr. Devin McMillan. Hey, Devin.
Hey, man. What's going on, everybody?
All right, everything's good, man. My question is this: how many shoes you got in your closet?
Oh man.
how many you got, Devin? Huh?
I don't know, man. I've sold a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of shoes, but I've sold a lot of stuff. But currently, I probably still got about at least a good 250 sitting in the closet.
Your closet look like my closet. This is my closet right here.
Yeah, but all mine still in boxes though.
I got another guest just popped in all the way from Texas, former BCU baseball center fielder, Mr. Oscar O.C. Count. What's up, Oscar?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's up?
All right, man. Good to have you on, man. I know you riding and all that, but that's good.
Yes, sir. I just wrapped up one of my bowling leagues, so I'm sitting here just left there. We have to wrap up. Yes, sir. I'm still bowling.
You still hitting them 300s?
Yes, sir.
Okay. These four guys right here, now, you guys help me out now. I'm new to this. You guys are retailers? What you call retail?
Well,
You say I sell shoes.
You could technically call us. Well, we are sneakerheads. I know Devin is a sneakerhead. Myself is a sneakerhead, but we're also resellers. So we resell sneakers. So retailer would technically be like a Foot Locker or a Champs. We're not Foot Locker or Champs, but we're resellers. So stuff like that.
Okay, so how does that work, Devin? How does that work?
Well, it all depends. You know, we get shoes, we turn around, we sell them for a profit. We put a little bit of extra on it. Most of the time, it's hard to get shoes that people don't really want to stand in line for, or they don't want to take the chance of putting in a raffle, not hitting a raffle. So they rather go through somebody, you know, one that they trust and somebody they know that's going to come through on the shoes. So it makes it easier for them, you know, to get the shoes that are hard to get that they really want.
Okay, before we get deep, you know, people like the new brands. What's coming out next week? Is that shoe coming out next week?
That shoe drops Saturday.
Oh yeah,
it's dropping out Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what about next month?
Well, I think the hot drop for next month going to be them 14 Ferraris. I think that's going to be one of the hottest drops in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's back up a little bit. Oscar, welcome to the show. You out in Texas. What part of Texas you in? Dallas? Houston?
Yes, sir. Dallas Fort Worth area.
All right. So tell me about how did you get started in the shoe game? I know you always had sneakers, but how did you get started in the shoe game?
So just like you said, I've always been a sneakerhead. When I was at BCU, I was a sneakerhead. Everybody always knew that I was going to have the freshest Jordans come out, the newest Jordans come out. And so that's just always been me. The reality of it was I didn't start it as a business. I moved back to Texas to take care of my dad and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to keep spending all this major money because the shoe industry has flipped the game so much that the resale market has kicked in to where as soon as the shoes first sell out when they come out, then the resale market and the resale prices and all of that end up hitting after that. So it just got outlandish for a lot of people. Myself, I was like, you know, I'm not going to keep spending this money. So let me just find my vendors so that I can go ahead and purchase my own shoes. However, because everybody knew my rapport as with sneakers and whatnot, I end up going to a funeral at my church to open the doors for a family that was having their repast service, and I had on some fresh new Jordans that had just dropped and nobody could find them. And so everybody in the family who were sneakers heads, that was as they was coming through for the repass, they was like, "Yo, where you get them from? We can't find them nowhere." And so I was just like, "Hey, if you want some, I can order them for you, but you have to put a $50 deposit down at the time." I wasn't doing it for a business. I was just trying to help some people out. And I messed around, and they gave me their contact number. I told them I would do a post and tag their cousin, who I knew. I would tag their cousin in it, and they can contact me from there. Um, Little did I know that was on a Saturday night. That Sunday morning, I woke up and I had like 5 or 6 inbox messages, and I was like, "What is this about?" I'm thinking something done happened. And as I said, as I opened them, I'm like, "I know these all ain't about shoes." So they were. I kind of ignored it. I went to church that morning, got out of church. By the time I got out of church, I had another 10 inbox messages. These were all the people that was at the funeral the next day. So I was like, okay, well, let me see if these people are serious. I contacted each of them. I told them put a $50 deposit down. I'll order the shoes, and when they get in, you can pay your remaining balance. So I did that, and once I did that, I did make another post. Still not thinking of starting a business. I made another post just thanking them for shopping with me. I appreciate you, whatever. And because of my following from BCU, it just so happens that everybody remember as me as a coach, administrator at BCU, and those who went to school with me remembered that. And so my online business took off from that point on. Everybody remembered that. It was like, "Hey, you can get shoes now." I'm like, "Yeah," so then it turn around to, I started the business from that, and it just took off from there. And that was in 2018, and it took off from 2018 and never slowed down all the way through COVID. It was successful, and here we are still running today.
So you badass shoes. That's your label, huh?
Yes, sir. Badass shoes.
Okay, Mr. J. When
Yes.
I talked to Devin, I was trying to bring Devin. Devin said, "Man, I got to bring my boy with me, man. My dog.
Yes.
I got to bring Mr. J with me." So, Jay, tell us about how you got started.
So I got started selling sneakers. I was into sneakers since I was like 8 or 9 years old. I had got some pairs and stuff like that. But when the cool gray 11s came out in 2010, I had begged my mom to go wait out in line with me. I was 11 years old at the time, and we had got to the front of the line. The dude in front of me got the last. At the time, I was a size 9. He got the last size, and he ended up seeing that I wanted him and knowing that he could wear a 9.5. So he returned his pair so I could get the size 9. So I got the size 9 cool grays, and he got the 9.5. And then after that, when we went home from camping out, they used to do midnight releases. Everybody, my family's like, damn, they're all looking them up, how much they go for. Cause like, why is everybody waiting in line for sneakers was crazy to them. So they saw at the time the cool grays were going like the 11s used to resell at the holiday releases. I want to say they're around like $500 to $600. So everybody's like, you should sell them. You should sell them. You'll make whatever you'll make on them, $300-$400 on them. But I was like, nah, I'm keeping them. But from there, I had the idea in my mind. So I started getting certain sneakers and selling them on eBay. And I had an eBay account when I was 11. I figured out how to navigate it on my computer, and I would ship out orders and stuff like that and make some money for just to buy more sneakers until I got a little older. By the time I was like 13, 14, I actually made some decent profit and was able to save a little bit of money up that carried on over the years.
Okay. So you got my cousin. You got my cousin started. Or he helped you get started. Okay, Devin, you tell us. Devin, hold up, Devin. When you were a little boy, your daddy used to have you always dressed nice. You always had shoes from the first pair you had in the crib. You always had on nice shoes. So tell us about how that matriculated. Devin, what happened to him? You lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so actually, my first pair came from my aunt Denise. It was the Retro 4 Cements that's coming out Saturday. She let me hold them for 2 weeks, And I wore them to school. I fell in love. You know, that really started my love for shoes. I got started selling shoes back in 2014, and it was really on accident. I always went to the mall first. I was always first. So one Saturday, I'm at the mall, and all these people keep coming out, keep coming out. So I'm like, I wonder what people in line for. I was just going to get a regular shoe from Foot Locker, and I didn't know what, why all the people kept coming. So by the time they come to open the mall, it's a line of people. So I'm like, what shoe y'all out here for? It was a Retro 13, a black and pink and white pair. It was a kid shoe. And they were releasing it in Kids Foot Locker. So I was like, oh, okay, bet. So when they opened the door, I just went on down to Kids Foot Locker. I was first in line. So they said, what you here for? I was like, the shoe that's coming out. I didn't even know what shoe it was. And they was like, what size you want? I was like, well, what's the biggest size? And like a 7. I was like, let me get the 7. So I get the 7. I'm still waiting on Foot Locker to open. I'm sitting in the middle of the mall. So my homeboy come up to me. He was like, bro, what you gonna do with that shoe? I said, shoe, you can have it. Just give me my money back. He was like, no, I'm gonna give you $50 on top. I was like, no, bro, you ain't gotta do that. You know, me and you cool. Here, just get the shoe. I don't want it. I just bought it because everybody else wanted it. So he was like, nah. He was like, no, I'm gonna give you 50. I was like, okay, bet. So like 4 or 5 days later, he was like, bro, you going out to the mall Saturday to get them Jordans that's coming out? I was like, yeah. He was like, bro, get me a pair and I'm gonna pay you. So I was like, bro, you ain't gotta pay me. You know, we straight. He's like, no, I'm gonna pay you. I get the shoe, he paid me. About 2 weeks go by, next pair coming out, he called me. He was like, bro, you want to do the same thing for me again? I was like, yeah. So I just did it. So he was my first customer. He did that for like 3 weeks. And then like the 4th time he called me when the next shoe was coming out, he was like, bro, I got me and my homeboys. They want you to get the shoes and they're going to pay you too. So I was
Wow.
I'm like, okay, bet. So it started with them 4, and they spread the word. They was like, oh, we get our shoes from Devin. I ain't thinking about no business or nothing like that. I'm just getting their shoes. Really, they could have came to the mall, got their own shoes. But that's how it started out. They spread the word, and then that's when Kicks on Fly was born, and we just been rocking ever since.
So you guys all started by happen chance. You know, you guys wearing stuff and people inquire. The next thing you know, you're not even thinking business. Now you guys are 3 of the top guys in the country. What shoe, Oscar, have you sold the most, you think?
Oh, the most?
Yeah.
That's a hard tell because when the fresh ones come out, or if they do it like if they do another old school shoe, yeah, resale or just like say, because they bring back a vintage shoe every now and then. So every time they bring back a vintage shoe, you know what I'm saying, it hits the market again, and everybody's back on it again. So that's a hard. I'm gonna tell you probably the biggest shoe I probably sold a lot of was the Air Force One off-white Louis Vuittons. And the reason I sold more of those was because nobody could get them across the country for a long time, and my vendor was able to get them. Those are I wish I was at the house so I can show you. Those are Louis Vuitton off-white. I don't know if you know what off-white is. Off-white, it's a collaboration between Off-White, Jordan, and Louis Vuitton. That's a 3-way collaboration. Those shoes come in a suitcase, a orange suitcase. So yeah, so you get the suitcase and everything. So that was one of my hottest ticket selling items probably in the last 2 years. And one of the reasons for that was because it was a lot of people out of New York that really, really wanted that shoe. And I had a young lady here that was from Texas that was from New York, and all her people was trying to get that shoe, but they couldn't find the shoe. And so she was like, hey, I got a guy here in Texas who just had a whole shipment bought into those shoes. If y'all want to get in touch with them. So she was like, so she posted me on her page, and everybody from her page started hitting me up. And I sold out of that whole shipment. I had a shipment of about probably 24 of those shoes. They sold out within 2 days. And then I had to re-up on that for the next month because everybody just kept ordering that shoe. So that was probably the biggest ticket shoe that I sold the most of in the last 2 years.
What about you, Jake?
Probably for me, I would say over the course of time, either the Jordan 1s or the 4s. Like over the past 5 years, probably undoubtedly the 4s. anytime the fours released, I had good networking throughout the stores. That people camping in line to get one pair, but you hang around for long enough and things work out in your favor, and you're able to get a good amount of pairs. I think Devin could probably say the same. So there's been a lot of releases of fours. When the 11s come out, it's easy to sell a lot of them, but they only come out once a year. So with the Jordan 4s coming and releasing more often over the course of time, I say I probably sold, over, I want to say like 1,000 pairs of Jordan 4s, you know what I mean? Or more, maybe even more, maybe a couple thousand pairs of Jordan 4s. So yeah.
So all of you guys selling Jordans, right? Nike.
Yeah.
Jordans and Nikes, yeah.
And A6 too, and New Balances
New
as well.
Balance, Asics,
Okay.
Yeah.
Adidas. When Yeezy was around, man,
Uh-huh.
listen, that was some of the best times ever.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
I sold a lot of Yeezys. I was selling more Yeezys than Jordans at one point when Yeezy was big. So it's just multiple brands. I mean, shoes sell all different type of shoes.
Do you guys get requests for athlete shoe like Dion's or some Caitlin Clark's, or for example, WNBA? All these ladies have their own shoe right now. Do you get requests for superstar players, stuff like that?
Well,
Uh
Devin?
your Dion's, your Dion's do well. Um, they just had some Scottie Pippins not long ago. They just brought back. So a lot of the shoes, like your Bo Jacksons, your SC trainers, those did well when they brought the original colorway. They just released them not too long ago. Your Barclays did good 2 weeks ago. That they just brought them back. So you do get those requests, not so much in the women's area, but the men's, yeah, you do.
Okay.
So with me, like you said, the Dion's that's like the what they call the Air Max DT now or whatnot, but it's still the old
Mhm.
Dion's, what we call them pretty much. But they try to come back out and rebrand that shoe or whatnot. So that's a new shoe that's really taking off now. A lot of people are asking, a lot of the young people are asking for that particular shoe. Now, what I usually get is a lot of the exclusive shoes, like the NBA came out. I mean, the WNBA came out with an exclusive women's shoe that was a Jordan 4 exclusive that I was able to get my hands on for a minute there. It was a like a bright I can't even tell you what kind of green it was, but it had of course like three or four different greens on it, and the
Mhm.
emblems were gold, and that was an exclusive shoe that was really hard to get, and I was able to get my hands on about 50 pair of those, and that sold out pretty quick. So I do get my hands on exclusives from here and there when they do come out, those exclusive shoes, but actually the personal, like the player shoes, it's not a lot of requests for player shoes. A lot of people be on exclusive shoes that that come out and they really can't get their hands on.
Okay. So you guys said that people hit you up in your DMs. Do you do any pop-up shops, like any commercials? Let me give you an example. Do you do anything like this? So that's
yeah.
Jake, man. Jake got a little slang going in there. Jake say, brick by brick, I started this thing.
Yes,
Tell us,
Yeah.
tell
sir.
us about tell us
The
about your
brick.
online pop-up stuff, Jake.
So that, I'm sure you guys might be familiar with the show Snowfall. It's a real popular show. It's one of my favorite shows. And Franklin had it was a scene in there where Franklin was getting mad at Leon, who was like his right hand man, and they were going back and forth. So in that skit, he basically said the same thing I said, almost word for word, but I spun it because he said, "I built this shit, me, brick by brick." And those shoes are the brick by bricks, which is actually like seen as one of the hottest releases this year, if not they're calling it the shoe of the year, but it's not over yet, but that's what people are saying. So that was my skit for that, trying to promote that.
I've heard Oscar. He goes online and say, "Hello, Facebook people. I got it right here." and he holds it in his hand, and he does his little smooth little talk. You know, you guys. I know you get recurring customers.
Yeah.
Hello, y'all there?
You
Hello.
was
Yeah,
breaking
we
up.
can hear
We
you.
couldn't hear
Yeah,
what you
froze
said.
up
Okay,
for a
okay.
minute.
How often do you get new customers? I know you get the same guys all the time, but how often do you get new customers?
So with me, first let me go back and hit back your other the thing about the pop-up shops. So here in Texas, we do have a lot of pop-up shops where a lot of people are doing a various. They have a various different amount of vendors that come out and whatnot. So I do get requests to set up for different vendor events to the point where now am building a trailer that I can set up an event and be at in the parking lot and set up all my stuff. Whether you can walk in the trailer and come in and do some shopping or whatever the case is. But so I do a lot of pop up vendor events here in Texas. That's the first thing. Secondly, you was asking repeat customers and new customers. So I'm in the process now of I'm building up a bigger website as well. But right now, I get new customers literally every week. You know what I'm saying? Because of the word of mouth, because of my advertising, and what I've come to realize is that our people in our society right now are so visual. Like they can know you here and they know you got stuff and you sell stuff, but it's like they don't even hit you up until you literally post or advertise. So the more I advertise, the more I get, more sales. The less I advertise, the sales slow down. It's as if they don't know. But that's why I understand now that why companies do commercials so much, because the more they see the commercials, the more the people end up purchasing and whatnot. So that's how I steady get new clientele, because I kind of post on a regular and just try to post new things. And sometimes I have a big on hand inventory as well, and so I do post things that I do have on hand already that people can get and pick up right now.
You know, Devin, I know you're a lot of word of mouth, and I see your Facebook posts all the time. So how do you really advertise?
Well, I use social media, but my biggest advertisement is really word of mouth. Other people, when
Okay.
they buy a shoe, they post it to their page, they post it to their story. I gain a lot of followers that way, and those followers that I gain usually turn into new customers. Um, some of the people that buy shoes from me have big followings, and whenever they post a shoe that they buy, um, that brings new customers as well. So really, it's just word of mouth, people sharing what they bought from me on
Yeah.
their pages, and it brings in more customers.
Yeah.
You know, I have
And
a young lady that's supposed to be on, but she's in Mexico right now. I know she's doing some stuff. Y'all know Shank Henry, but Shank, she customized shoes. Let me show you some things she's done. She's done what do you call those?
Jordan mids look
Those,
like
yeah, some
yeah,
mids.
those
Those
some
Jordan
Jordan
mids.
one.
Okay.
Those are nice.
Cortez,
I like
Nike
those.
Cortez,
That's the old Cortez's right there. She customized.
Yeah. So
AM
Air
90s.
Maxes. Yeah.
Boy, y'all know all them things, boy. Look
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that. That girl bad, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
She's
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 talented.
my
actually.
favorite. I love those.
Oh
Those
yeah,
are just
they're
some
cool.
regular Air Force One. She
Yeah.
freaking them up though. Yeah. I wish I maybe I can contact with her, because I do get a lot of requests for customizations. I don't really do a lot of customizations. I will do some if I find the time, but that just takes up a little bit too much more time that I can really take
Uh,
on for myself. My clientele is so busy on a regular, I can't sit down and customize an individual shoe. I don't have that time to do that.
okay.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
does well, man. I even had her. Okay, let me. I had something else here for that she did. Let's see. I can't find it now. This.
Oh, the
Oh,
BCU
She do
bicycle.
ball. She
Yeah.
does ball. Yeah. I was looking for her to come on. She told me this today. She was in Mexico. So right now, you got the end of the month coming up. We got some new shoes coming out. What would be the hottest item for summertime? People wear lows and highs, depending on the weather. I mean, they just pick them because they're coming out.
I'll probably say something that I say for all of us. Well, or at least myself, I get a lot of requests for, although I don't always get them in stock, is like Yeezy slides, foam runners, stuff like that. And these are shoes that are essentially just rubber and no leather and no nothing else. They're just, if you look them up, like the Yeezy slides or the foam runners, it's just like it's like almost like a some slides or like a weird shoe like that, but they're comfortable to wear, kind of like a croc. But
Yeah,
Now my next, go ahead.
we miss Yee out here right now, man.
yeah,
we need him back. We need him back bad, boy.
yeah,
I miss old Kanye, man.
yeah. When those are selling hot, man, the game was different. And you know what?
It was
Right now, we don't really have anybody that's like a forefront or like a new influence that everybody's following. That, oh, I need these, I need these. Like we
right.
had Virgil, we had Kanye, but both of them, well, Virgil's gone,
Yeah, bro.
unfortunately, rest in peace. But Kanye's gone too, but in a different sense. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things.
But hey, if you man, Virgil was one of the best we've seen in a long time. You know what I mean? And I wish he
Yeah,
could have stayed a little longer. He would have definitely had a big imprint on the game. And I mean, he had it sold up pretty much prior to him leaving with the Virgil 10. I would say that's one of the best collabs that I've ever seen.
yeah,
Mm.
I've never seen a collab do what the Virgil 10 did. And you know, to this day, those shoes still hold value. People still want them. It was rumored that Nike was going to re-release the 10. I hope they do. I don't know how true that is, but
I heard that.
Virgil, even with his Off-White brand and how he collaborated with Jordan brand, I'm gonna tell you when we were in Chicago for All-Star Weekend, the last time it was in Chicago, we had Virgil there, we had Kanye there. Kanye was riding around in a tank, giving away shoes. I'm talking about a military tank rolling down the street of Chicago, giving away shoes. And you know, Virgil that weekend, his shoe, the Off-White 5, the gray pair, his shoe did better than a lot of shoes I've done in a long time. I mean, and those shoes held a lot of weight. So it was just like you said, we don't have that now. What we seen with Kanye, what we seen with Virgil, even what we seen with what's the, Lorenzo? What's the guy from Fear of God? It's
Oh,
Lorenzo or something like that. I can't think his name, but even
oh,
he was doing well when he was with Nike before he left Nike and went to Adidas. So I honestly I would love to see Kanye go back to Nike right now.
that would be
And
crazy. That would change the
it,
game.
listen, it would change the game. If
It,
Kanye was to go back to Nike and drop a Yeezy by Nike, it would be crazy.
So
that would,
Yeah.
who's ruling the world right now? Who's ruling?
it isn't like it's nobody that.
No, yeah. It's nobody out
Well,
there that's pulling it like that right now.
no,
Yeah,
no.
it's missing it. The sneaker game is missing that
Well,
right now.
hey, Nigel Sylvester ain't doing too bad. You know,
No, yeah, he did his thing.
he hasn't had a lot of collabs, but his this last collab, the Brick by Brick, was one of the best we've seen in a while. You know, that shoe's still holding weight. People still want Brick by Bricks. You know, they're not touching them. I know I had a lot of pairs. Jake had a lot of pairs, and
Mm.
it was a good release, man.
Yeah, just like your
Somebody
man
said,
said though, just like your man said, nobody's doing collabs like Virgil did. Virgil did his
No.
off-white brand, man. Those collabs were like they anytime he came out with any shoe or off-white shoe, those collabs sold like it was nothing, like hotcakes.
Yeah,
Nobody's been able to do a collab like Virgil was.
nah, man. No, nothing. I don't think. Well, I don't know. I hope so. I hope somebody does come out like that. But his mind, his approach, and the shoes that he released, I don't know if
So
it's gonna be anything that tops
hey,
that.
"What
so
you got, D?"
I still got the Foot Locker from Chicago receipt with the. So those were the Virgils,
Yeah, the off
the
white.
Yeah,
Off-White
That's a
5.
little off white five.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
listen,
Those
this
was
was an iconic time. I mean, it was just so different.
man. I
You,
wish I
you
was
got.
at home so I could show you some of these off whites that I got, especially these off white Louis
I wish
Vuittons.
you
I
were
got some.
home too.
yeah,
I wish you were home too. I tell you what we're gonna do. I don't want to interrupt your swing because you guys talking the lingo. I don't even know what you're saying. But every year I come to Dallas to a Cowboys game,
Okay,
and
okay.
Devin, you know John. We come to John's house and we go to
Yeah,
Cowboy game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring Devin and Jake this year. We're looking at the game in December, the Cowboys and somebody in December, and we can get together, man. Maybe we could do a
Yeah,
show between the three of you guys. Heck, we can put together something.
yeah.
we
That
could
would be
definitely
Go,
do
cool.
that.
go out
Yeah,
to all
I'm right. I'm right here. I'm right here, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
my
Jake,
I'm
next
Jake.
there.
question. Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say Jake is the show man, man. He go around
Get the show,
to
man.
to the lot of the shows on SneakerCon, and he
Uh-huh.
really do his thing. I've done the shows. It's not really my avenue, but I have had a good time every time I've went to a show and done a show. And but I see Jake, man, he kill it every time.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I say like something about for Devin. I know that he, as far as Daytona Beach, Orlando goes, I haven't met any other sellers that got the right type of networking of people that really they just like you, so they're gonna tap in with you every time and get that shoe every time. He got the clientele that stretches, and between with that and the fact that I had good networks with the resellers, we were always able to make some money together. Like when
Yeah,
things were hot, it wasn't even people store owners. They weren't getting the store owners that had these sneaker stores. They're paying this crazy overhead. They weren't touching nowhere near as many sneakers and putting out as many sneakers that we were
no,
putting out. So
no.
sometimes it's just about your clientele and knowing how to maneuver and stuff
That's
like
good.
that.
Devin was one of my sponsors for my radio show, the Locker Room radio show. Devin was a sponsor. He used to come by the house and drop me $20, $30. You see, man, I can be selling shoes. I'm like, man, I need that money, boy. But here's a question for you guys. We know you guys sell shoes. How well outfitted are your kids? Because Oscar, I know this young lady right here got some shoes on her feet.
Yeah, man. Her school, her teachers, and everything. They was wondering what was going on because they see her with fresh kicks every day and different. Because they got uniforms, so they got to wear their uniforms every day. But her wardrobe consists of shoes every day, a different type of shoe with her uniform. And so the teacher
Uh-huh.
was like, "Man, how many pair of shoes you got?" She was like, "Well, my dad sells shoes." And so they was like, "Oh, that makes sense now." And so yeah, and from that, I ended up getting a lot of the parents from the school getting shoes and whatnot too. So it's crazy. Yeah, her shoe game is crazy.
Devin, tell us about this young fella right here. I know he got shoe game.
Yeah. That's the little one, D3. He likes shoes, so he have a lot of shoes. But even though he is only 8, his style is changing now because more so I used to always get him the retros. He got all the retros that come out, but now he like Vans and he like Dunks. He really not concerned too much about the retros no more. You take him in a store and tell him to pick a shoe, he gonna pick a pair of Vans or he gonna pick a pair of Dunks.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Since we're talking about him, tell us
Mhm.
a little bit about his foot. He's one of the top football players and what in the nation. He's
Yeah,
ranked right.
yeah. Right now they got him ranked number 2 athlete in the nation. He won Heisman last season on 7U season. He's a standout player. He's a young kid that love God. That's the most important thing for us. And
That's
I
a
mean,
picture of you with him with the Heisman.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was with the high. So he plays in, we play in the Premier League here in Florida, which is Florida League. So that's the biggest league down here in Florida. But we competed in the YNC which is pretty much the biggest tournament it is for that age group over in we were down nearby Miami, and we came up short, but we lost to the number one team in the nation, which is a team out of Atlanta called Supreme.
Let's
So
take a look at some of his highlights. Let's take a look at some of his highlights. Boy got speed, man.
yeah.
Because right now you have him in track and field, right?
We running track right now.
He's still dusting people.
Yeah, and he's ranked like number 8.
I love this kid has his own brand, and when you got kids that are athletes and they're young, now is the time now to videotape because NIL deals are out there. You guys are retailing shoes. It's a great opportunity for him to be a businessman. I know his older brother is also working with you selling shoes, right, Devin?
Right, yeah, DJ with me all the
DJ?
time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. Being able to see your son accomplish those kind of things and stuff like that, see where that's headed for him. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, I had a question come in, and somebody told me, how do you know the shoes are real when you get them? For example, Nike sues 52 websites selling fake sneakers. That was on The Simpsons. How do you know the shoes are authentic?
Well, I would say, one, you got to know who you're buying from, right?
Yeah.
Where you're getting your shoes. Is the place you get your shoes an authorized seller by whoever, Nike, Adidas, Reebok? So it really boils down to where you get your shoes from. Then the next thing is being able to know shoes and look at shoes. It's a lot of different things you can look for to tell if a shoe is real or fake. Now I can tell you fakes have become very hard to distinguish between real and fake. The average eye won't be able to tell, right?
What?
So no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You guys can tell, right? I wouldn't know. I've never owned a pair of Jordans, ever.
Well, let me give you a little more information about that too,
Go ahead.
because they got it's so many different things that's out there now. So you got what's known as the fakes, but you also have what's called an unauthorized shoe. Because what happens is a lot of people don't understand how this shoe industry works. Because, like I said, when Nike them have a thing, all the shoes over in China, no, all the shops over in China. So a lot of people don't understand that when they make those shoes, say Nike wants 50,000 of these shoes shipped from, say, 2 of their warehouses or 2 of their factories over there. Those factories will produce those shoes or whatnot, and then they'll send them to Nike's quality control, which is in Nashville, Tennessee. And if those shoes pass the quality control test, they'll go on. If it's a shoe that's deemed, of course, they'll go to the outlet store, or it might be totally discarded or whatever the case is. Well, when Nike reaches their quota for everything that they got that they're sending out to all their stores across the country, once they reach their limit and they got everything, you got to realize that those warehouses still have shoes that's there. So a lot of times they'll say those shoes for when Nike needs to replenish the shoe, or if Nike replenishes. But what happens is those vendors end up selling those shoes on the black market. And so it's not that all of the shoes are fake. Now you got some out there that's fake and you can really tell the fakes. But now you got a whole nother market out there that's called like a unauthorized market, because it's being sold by those warehouses on the black market or through websites like DHgate and things of that nature. So you get those shoes, and the problem with that is The reason it's unauthorized is because it didn't go through Nike's quality control and wasn't registered as a Nike shoe. But it's the same exact shoe as what Nike is selling.
Yeah.
So you gotta know the difference, and there's no way, like I said, there's no difference between that shoe, an unauthorized shoe, and the actual authorized shoe because it came from the same warehouse. But then you got other warehouses in China that are trying to mass reproduce a shoe because they'll get the patent for that shoe and try to reproduce it, but it won't be the same color, might be the same, they might not have the same quality of threading, so the threads might be off. So that's when you get into the fake shoes. So you got fake, you got unauthorized, and you got the authentic shoe. But like he said, a lot of those fake shoes are getting to the point where you can't distinguish the difference because they're getting better with their quality and they're matching up those patterns with the real thing.
Yeah.
I got an idea that putting you three guys together. Let's go to Allen High School out there in Dallas. Let's go to Allen High School and set up shop, the home of Kyler Murray. Set up shop at one of the high schools. I do public speaking. We could put together something and do a shoe convention. You guys interested in doing something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that. Go ahead.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I'm asking you. You the man, Jay. You the man who put together these pop-up shops, right?
Yeah. So I do a lot of events and stuff like that. I got Detroit coming up. I think Las Vegas is in like a month or so, 2 months.
Okay.
But I'm down, man. If you guys want to do an event, I'll come out there, get a ticket. I'll set up a table and stuff like that. And if you got any questions or you want tips and advice for setting up the event, I'll help. I'll help. You know what I mean, behind the scenes too. I always like, sometimes you got these guys that run these huge events like SneakerCon and Got Sold that got millions of followers and they have a huge turnout, and then you got a lot of like home events where it's like local events that are ran by locals, and a lot of times sometimes your sales at those smaller events will succeed your sales at the bigger events because you got people that really want the shoe for themselves versus
Correct.
just people that have seen that 1,000 times because they know the sneaker game and they've been around for so long, so they're more specific about what they want to buy versus just being like, damn, those are cool. You know what I mean? So you got different crowds. So I try to go to all of them. So yeah, I'm always down for that.
So Oscar, what's the climate for doing something like that? How would you set it up? That's your area.
Well, first, right, when you do any kind of vendor event down here, you got to get authorization to set up as a vendor and whatnot. You can't just set up it anywhere
Yeah.
and just whatever. So you got to make sure you got a vendor's license. And that's something I do have. That's why I do a lot of the pop-up shots and whatnot. So I have a vendor's license to where I can set up in various places. In that particular city, you would have to go with that where Allen is in Allen, Texas, and make sure that they don't check their rules and regulations of setting up an event like that. And then we can go from there because every city regulates vendors differently.
I know the mayor. I know the mayor there, and he and I have had dinner a few times, and I can probably run it past him and see what he says.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about doing it at a high school or whatnot like that. So it just depends. It depends on how they regulate vendor events and things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
So look,
Hey, man.
I got
Go
a
ahead.
question. I got a question. So all of us have been around for a while. Do you think Jordan 1s will make a comeback like we seen 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, before the dunk scene took over? Will Jordan 1s come back?
You know what? Dunks have definitely taken over. This young age, they're I don't know what their fascination about dunks is, but they have definitely taken over.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but because I still got a high clientele that loves it. Matter of fact, when he asked about my highest selling shoe, Jordan 1s would probably be, now it was not a specific Jordan 1, but Jordan 1s are my number one selling shoe. that's what I sell a lot of is Jordan 1s. But then too, um, those and these dunks, man, like I said, the fascination with dunks is just really taking over. It's
Yeah,
hard to say if Jordan. It's hard to say if Jordan 1s are. I don't know. It's the trend of the newer kids, the young kids. I mean, with all our old school people, they still gonna rock them Jordan 1s over some dunks. So you know, when you got
Yeah.
your older clientele, they gonna always still pull for them Jordan 1s.
Right.
I think that they will, but it could be 10, 15 years. But when they do, all of us right here, let's make a note because there's Jordan ones that you can get right now on say eBay or other apps. You can get Jordan ones for under $100 right now. Like even well up,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They got pairs at the outlet. I picked up some pairs. I mean, they got pairs that are hitting Ross. I mean, certain colorways, they might not be the nicest colorways, but you can find pairs of Jordan 1s for under $100 right now. So with that, we might look back at this in 15 years and be like, damn, and that wave might come back around. Because it never
Yeah.
hasn't. It never hasn't. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So why
Right.
wouldn't it now? And
But
not
you got to also look at this. Michael Jordan is getting ready to come back on the scene. You know, he's getting ready to be on NBC now. You know, the NBA is going to NBC, so his face will be that much more visible, and his name will be that more out there. Maybe they could make a comeback.
Yeah.
yeah. It's hard to see it right now, I'm gonna be honest, but
Yeah. It's hard to see,
yeah,
but it was a good time while it was around.
man,
Yeah.
Y'all was
Jordan 1
rocking.
was hot.
Yeah. Now, me personally, I don't wear Jordan ones. I've never worn a Jordan 1, but it was a great seller when they were up. Before the Dunks took over. It's crazy. I remember when Dunks used to go to the outlets.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
they sit on the
yeah.
shelf. And
What-
then when they made a comeback with the Panda, people went crazy, and I'm like,
The
this the
Pandas was
same.
$350,
Yeah,
man.
I remember.
That's the
Hey,
craziest
I
thing.
thought Panthers were dunk.
yeah,
They are.
Pandas are
Yeah,
dunks,
that
but
they are dunks, but that's what he's saying. Like the dunks. Nobody would buy the dunks. Like he
nobody.
said, that you can go to the outlet, you can get your choice of all the dunks you wanted. They wouldn't sell it,
Yeah.
and
And
now you can't find dunks nowhere. You be
Right.
trying to find dunks, man. It's crazy.
but it's back on the decline though for sure, even with the dunks as well. They just mass produce too many different colorways. But
Yeah.
I do want to mention this though, because people don't talk about it too much. The SB dunks, which is a certain variant of the dunk that's a skateboarding dunk, those have
Skateboard shoe.
never left. Those have
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
always been popular. And if they weren't popular for the current releases, the old ones were hitting. They never left. That's always been a sought after one. And right now they're still pretty high, especially like I've been selling a lot of older colorways. I can show you guys a couple of like from like '06, '05. They're still hitting. You know what I mean? You just gotta be
Yeah,
able to find them.
the SB dunks are always are popular. That's gonna be always gonna be popular, no matter what.
These
Right.
just came out. These are
Well, that's the
actually,
Cowboy.
yeah, these are the Cowboys. They said it's for Black History Month, but they came out on Cinco de Mayo and they're Cowboy themed.
Well, they were supposed to come out on Black History Month.
Black
They
history.
got pushed back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but these are hard though. These are nice. Like these came out. These are hot right now. People
Yeah.
paying pretty nice for them. Those. Then you got older releases too, like of the SBs. I don't even know what's in here, but some Sequoias. Let me see. Let me see
Yeah,
if
the
I got
older
anything.
SBs, they still hold a lot of weight.
Yeah. I mean, these like the 7-Elevens, these are from like 2008.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
too. But yeah.
I just never been into dunks. I ain't never liked them. I ain't never worn them. I ain't never liked them. I like Jordans. I like retros. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I'm a Jordan man. I like the retros. And I like my Air Max, the 95s, the 97s. That's my shoe.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my favorite shoe of all time is still always gonna be the Cool Gray 11. But
Yeah, I rock all the 11s, man. So my
Yeah.
favorite Jordan shoe is 11s and 12s. I rock almost all the 11 and 12s.
Right.
I feel
Right.
like the
All right.
11's just never not gonna be nice.
Yeah. The Concord 11 is my favorite shoe of all
Yeah.
time.
Let me ask a
Yeah.
question. Let me ask a question for because I'm a novice. The numbers. What does 11, 12, 1? What does all that mean?
That's the different like the first shoe. The ones were the very first Jordan shoe that came out,
Yeah, I
and as
got
they
a
came
pair.
out with a new shoe, it went up in the numbers. So like they up to what?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I see. Okay,
yeah,
and they just keep recreating them. They go back to the ones.
Right. Yeah, now they do. That's
yeah.
what they call them, retros.
Okay,
Like I ain't gonna
I
front
get it.
like right now I'm rocking a maroon and white Jordan
Woo!
11.
Oh yeah, I
You
know
know what I'm
those.
saying?
Yeah, 11's my favorite out of all the shoes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was thinking
that's
about the
always gonna
12s.
that's always gonna be my shoe choice is the 11s.
So when y'all get these shoes and y'all sell them, do your pair is free or you buy them from yourself?
My pair gonna always be free.
It depends how you look at it. Like, is it
Yeah,
from?
right.
Yeah, you still gotta pay for it from the retailer or whoever you
Yeah,
get it from.
you still paying. Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. What I do is it depends because sometimes if it, like say if it's a new shoe that's coming out, because sometimes my vendor will send them to me ahead of time, but I can't release the shoe until they actually come out with the shoe. So when I get it, when I see a new shoe coming out, and I know it's a hot ticket, I will buy extra in bulk. And so when I buy in bulk, I always throw me a shoe in there. So in essence, I get the shoe in essence for free. I still pay for it, but I
Right.
still in essence get it for free.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey man,
that's
you
how.
guys are giving me some great information, some great knowledge. I wanted to do this podcast because I was gonna have you on last week, Oscar, on the J.R. Richards podcast, and then some say no. Put together
Yeah,
some shoe heads. Put together some shoe heads because this is something like I used to be a PE teacher, and I think the
yeah,
most pair of sneakers I had was 17. And I remember when Nike came out, like 1974. I think Nike came out originally in 74, 73. But I think I used to have like 20 pair of sneakers. I've never worn Jordans. I've never worn Jordans in my life. And I probably never will because I never liked Michael Jordan because I was a Miami Heat fan. He used to come to Miami and come to the Miami Arena and beat the Heat. And I said, I'd never wear his shoe. But I know guys who buy those shoes that you guys sell and they revert the bottoms into baseball shoes and football shoes and stuff like that too. So I know the shoe game is very, very lucrative.
It's funny because I know a lot of people, like even myself included, that just don't really like Michael Jordan. Uh, why don't I like him? I just feel like he never really did anything with this platform that he could have did. You know what I mean? The amount of power that he is in the position that he's in. I feel like after his basketball being one of the greatest, aside from being one of the greatest players of all time in the game of basketball, I feel like he could have done something more substantial than just release a lot of shoes. But I do like his sneakers a lot, man. I'm not gonna stop wearing them, and they help build a small empire for myself for sneakers. You know what I mean? So
Somebody asked me, what's the difference between Nike and the Jordan brand? What's the difference? You see the NBA now, they wear the Jordan, the jump man on the uniform. What's the difference between Jumpman and Nike? It's the same thing, or is it a different entity?
Nike came out and originally came up with the Jordan brand. So the Jordan brand came under Nike's umbrella. That's how it got started. If you go back and look at the Jordan story, it'll tell you all about how it got started and how the Jordan brand actually got started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are giving me some great information. I'm almost out of time, but I just want to cover a couple of other items. We're gonna cover a sports item. I'm gonna put up a picture, and I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to elaborate on it. Let's see. Let me see where I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go right here.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
Angel
Why is
Reese.
that your girl? Tell me why that's your girl.
Because she
Man,
is,
let
man.
me tell you something.
Uh,
Somebody else can go first, but that girl right there, she a beast, man. I love everything about that girl. You know what I'm saying? She walks the walk, she talks the talk, and she don't care who nobody is. she's gonna get out there, she gonna talk her trash, and she gonna back it up.
Yeah.
NBA
But
history, WNBA history she made last week.
Yeah.
yeah,
First one, what, 40 and 40?
450 rebounds, 450 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching Andrew Reese play, and I never really watched the WNBA, but I might have a little crush on her too, but that's a
Yeah,
different
for
Uh-oh.
story.
sure.
yeah, that girl
Uh-oh.
bad. That girl bad all around,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
all around.
Yeah.
Devin, your son is one of the fastest kids in the country. Can he beat this guy running?
No, boy, that's the cheater. But hey, he desired to beat the cheater though. He tried to put in the work to beat him. Hopefully he get there soon.
Okay. Now you guys really aren't baseball people, but I got to put my guy up from BCU. See, Oscar played center field for Bethune because it was smooth center field. He's a go back man and do the Willie Mays basket catches and stuff. Steal bases. But right now BCU is in the SWAC tournament. They were up 7-4 on Alabama State last time I checked. But this guy, coach of the year, man, BCU baseball won the SWAC regular season. They're trying right now to win the SWAC tournament. Okay, but on a darker side, I lost 3 friends this week. This young man right here, Michael Q. Mike Q was a NFL football agent, an NFL guy. What he did was he owned the Tropical Bowl, the World Bowl, the FCS Bowl, and the FBS Bowl. They played those bowl games in Daytona. He's helped over 500 guys get looks into the NFL. He had a game last week in Mexico. Came home Monday and died. That's my boy Mike Q, man. This young lady right here, I lost her the next day. This is they call her D3, Deborah 3. I used to travel with her and Bethune-Cookman on Delta Airlines. She worked for Delta Airlines. I used to fly from Fort Lauderdale to wherever the Wildcats played that day and fly back the same day because of Deborah 3. She's gone home to be with the Lord. This young man right here, man, played bass in the band at my church, the Bethel Church in Miami. Jamal Andrews, a young cat, man. Young brother, not even 35, 36 years old, man. Died of cancer, man. So I've had a rough week with deaths. But I know everybody on here love the Lord. I know Devin does, and I know Oscar does, and I also know that Jake probably got to have some of that love in his heart too.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Yeah,
Without God, none of this comes together, man. At the end of the day, the sneaker stuff is fun and materialistic, but it all works together too well, and none of it would ever make sense without God. So
Absolutely.
I always keep that in my mind. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Anybody got anything before we go off?
Hey man, it was a pleasure, Oscar, meeting you. Just wish
Yes,
the
sir.
business well. Hey, it was great being on with you guys and talking about the thing that I'm most passionate about.
Jake, that's how you reach Jake, right? Right there.
Yep. That's me right there, man. I want to say
That's
thanks for having me
Instagram.
on. That's my Instagram.
Okay.
That's my number. Shoot me a text. Anybody needs sneakers, let me know, man. I had a good time hopping on a podcast talking about, like Devin said, something I'm very passionate about and networking and stuff like that. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it a lot.
I'm gonna tell
Yes,
you,
sir.
I remember Devin. Devin gave myself and a couple other cousins the shirt and the cap. We wore to the Pro Bowl.
Oh
And we
yeah.
were kicked on fly at the Pro Bowl in Orlando one year. Maybe that place was
Yeah.
smooth, my brother.
Yes,
So that's
sir.
how you reach
Yes,
Devin.
sir.
And
Yeah.
Oscar, bad ass shoes. That's BAD_AZ_ shoes out there in Dallas, Texas.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna connect everybody after the show. I'm gonna send you this show. I hope you guys share the podcast. If not, you can share it afterward. But I'm gonna connect everybody together. I'm always about doing more and connecting people. I talked about Allen High School. I'm just throwing stuff out, but I would
Yeah.
love to see you guys just get together and do some stuff, even to help somebody get started who want to get started. So we're out of time. I'm never, ever, ever out of sports. You've been watching the Locker Room. Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Peace, guys.
All right,
Go
y'all.
watch the game too. So
Yeah.
Take care.
yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys.